Oh my goodness. Oh, konnichiwa minasan. How are you all doing on this fantastic Friday? Hello and welcome to another one line of code. It is Community Day, which I forgot to put in the title, but whatever. It's Friday. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, as you may have seen or can probably see. You can't see it in the chat anymore. I was still in my daily stand-up meeting. We had an after meeting to talk about the telemetry functionality that they're wanting improved in the existing application for the work product. Bot needs to be kicking. Bot needs to be kicking. Hello, bot. Who bot? Speaking of Whobot, I just started rewatching not rewatching, watching what I think is a British adaptation of Being Human. I think it's called Being Human, which is a Swedish show about androids gaining sentience. Being Human. No, Being Human is the one about the ghosts, the vampire, and the other thing. Maybe it is just called Human. Swedish. Oh, but I need to get the bot up and running. Connect, connect. Oh, right, because I needed to restart my computer not too long ago. And so the bot wouldn't have relogged in automatically. It does start automatically, but it didn't relog in. So let me get my two-factor authentication going. Oh, I didn't click on the remember this computer. Whatever. The bot should be. Oh, wow. Oh, no. Um, Let me open. Gosh, everything is awesome. I have everything covered up, so I can't really read chat yet, but I will be back to it very, very, very shortly once I get to the bot. Once the bot gets connected and join. And are we connected? It's connected. Okay, bot should be back up and running. I hope. I would have checked that before the stream because I have been lately, but I was a little busy. Okay. The name of the show in Sweden, human TV show, Real Humans, is called Real Humans. And I think that the show that's on Amazon Prime called Humans is a British adaptation of it. Not Amazon Prime, Amazon Video, Prime Video. Prime Video is what it's called. The main synth is what they're calling them instead of Hubots. Hubot is named Anita, and the kid's name is Tobit, or just Toby. And yeah, so it seems like it has a lot of the same characters. It has seemingly a similar storyline. It's just in British instead of Swedish. Anyway, okay. So, hello everyone. Hello Dukasoft. Hello DFlux. Today's Community Day, which is the day that I like to invite you guys onto our voice channel, but give me a second. It'll be just a little bit of setup. I am looking for dashboard, please. I don't even have my dashboard up and running on the monitor. Okay. Pause you. Back up. Why is my chat paused? Don't pause, chat. Okay, okay, where am I? We have that up and running now. Disfortunately, I was not able to run the pre-roll ads during the countdown timer, so people will be getting pre-roll ads if they are joining and not subscribed or using a browser that um, doesn't block ads. Okay, close that. That's running. Hopefully the music isn't still too loud. The music is still too loud because I forgot to turn it down because I'm not monitoring it. Okay, now I'm monitoring it. For those of you on future video, which I think music hasn't even been in the VOD that gets posted to Twitch. So those of you in the future, you'll hear no difference. My voice is still the same, except just a little bit more country. Rotten now. Yep. I need to hop into this room here. Settings. Voice and video. Make sure the audio is going out of the right thing. Input devices in the right place. Start virtual camera. Discord. Channel. Show camera. And there's me in Discord. What else do I need to set up? I need to open the project just so we have something to look at while we're talking. If anyone does have anything to talk about, that is, of course. That's still running. I did not know that that's still running. How is the video quality? Am I like super laggy? Is my voice behind the... Is my voice behind the audio? Camera seems a little... Yeah, not centered. Am I choppy? Because I am generating a whole bunch of images for magic symbols, magic symbol ideas. So I'm going to get one of those magic symbols that it just generated for me and open that project first. Quick scan of open applications, make sure there's nothing with sensitive data showing. What are, yeah, that's going to be a fun thing. So I do have a topic primed if no one else does, but I definitely want to invite you guys for your topics first. We'll get that started very, very, very shortly. Close, close, close. Notepad, stream ideas. I like having Notepad open just in case we talk about anything that's like, I need to jot that down. Those are good. Good. Close that. ¿Qué más? ¿Qué más? I got a couple of emails. I just downloaded Brave. It was recommended to me as a nice browser to potentially use. I would like to test my applications on it. That's one of the big things that I want to use it for. Okay, okay, back to chat. I don't even know if you guys are even hearing me because, again, it's still generating images. And I'm just really surprised that the camera is not choppy at all because it's using the graphics card. We'll find out what happens when we go to this scene. Whoa! Okay, I'm going to replace this image at the top with one that was just generated. Just need to find this PC. AI generated images. Scrolly, 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 scrolly. Which one of you guys looks cool? So picture this magic symbol as a game element. I just want to find a good one, though. Really good one. I mean, they're all pretty cool to me, but I don't know. There's just something lacking. Ooh, I kind of like that one. There was one that really looked like a magical symbol. Yeah, this one. That would show up after you like carve a rune in the air and then you activate it. Oh, right. They're small. They're small. Okay, there's that one. So I could see this as an effect that shows up in a game, such as in the the little game that we were working on not too long ago as a for fun project. I mean, they're all for fun projects. Even my work project is a for fun project. Not this one. Not this one. This is the one that I'm currently working on, which we will get to in future videos, in future streams. I don't even know where it is then. Hello? Okay. 4-hour stream though. During the week, on Monday and Wednesday, we focus on working on the financial management project. And on Fridays, like today, we have community day. So if you feel like it, I invite you to join our Discord. You can hop into a stream waiting room voice channel in there if you have a topic that you want to discuss using your voice. A note that you and your voice will be recorded, and it will come through on the YouTube recording. So please be mindful of your audience. Let's keep it to technology and be just mindful and respectful. Okay, we do have someone that wants to talk, and it is the DFlux. I'm pulling you into the room now, and it's probably easier if you just listen to me from Discord and watch the video there. Although you get no music. So welcome to the stage, DFlux. Microphone is checked.
Awesome. I literally just set up the push talk button as you're dragging me in. I've never used Discord on this laptop.
Oh, nice. Yes, you should be output to the VOD, and people at home can hear you.
Awesome. I don't have. I've had a pretty busy week. Tuesday is our launch day, officially for our Angular app going into production.
Are you allowed to talk about your company and what the app is?
I never asked for permission, but I can always ask for forgiveness.
Be safe.
I don't know. No, it's not. We're not doing anything like. It's manufacturing automation, so it's not like finances or anything like that. That's typically covered by those sort of NDA type style of rules. It's rather it's a funny old application, if I'm honest, and I still don't fully comprehend how we're doing it, but I'm desperately trying to get them to start using Entity Framework. We are still to this day manually writing out SQL statements and executing it using SQL, whatever it is, the
parameterized strings or SQL parameters and execution commands. Commands are called commands.
Yeah, execution. So we like manually like construct it, and like we get inputs that come in from like the Angular UI, including comments, that then just get sent into a SQL statement and executed, which is obviously don't do that. If you're listening, don't do that. It's a bad idea. So I've been desperately trying to get them to use Entity Framework, and we're just about getting there. And we had a really good use case for one, using in a particular direction, which at the last minute got dropped. It said, no, we're not going to use Entity Framework. We're going to use something else, or the old style, which I was pretty upset about. I was like, well, that's
is
really
it just SQL client that you're using?
Yeah,
like Microsoft.SQL.client or System.SQL.client.
I'd have to look. So we have this really weird scenario, and I don't know if you've ever heard or seen this topology before, we have this older application that runs in the background. The only way we can talk to it is via a socket connection. So the new .NET 6 stuff calls via socket connection another part of the same project.
Mhm.
And then there's obviously the whole JSON deserialize, and then it works out what it wants to do. So I can't even like inject a logger into that part of the code even to see what's going on and everything. It's like in this weird funny way because it's like migrated from the old project into this one, but it is .NET 6, but it's running in the background and I can't access anything. It's funny.
Yeah, I mean, if
Yeah.
it sounds like the same kind of structure that we have, where we have a backend application, and this is a desktop only app running on a specific machine. It has a backend application that's always running, listening for requests, and then the front end application sends Signal R messages and gets back Signal R messages.
Yeah, what's frustrating? I mean, the reason why I bring it up like that, what's frustrating is I can't even access the seat. Like whatever. It should be a situation where I could like just run code from my API, but I don't. I have to like get it in the API, produce a state object, then send messages over a socket connection to get it to do anything, which is to access all the old code on the same machine. It's not like it's going over the network.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, but it is system.data.sql client. SQL command.
System.data.sql client. That's ADO.
Right. So we're still
ADO,
using
I
that.
think.
But so there is an opportunity with this Oracle database to use Entity Framework. I've never used Entity Framework with an Oracle database. So that's what I'm trying to Google up now to get access into they have so I don't know what the general procedure. My procedure is I'll go download whatever Oracle's
Driver.
default tool is, install it, run it, make sure the connection to the database is correct, make sure I can connect, I've got the right username and password. And usually throughout that process, you're sort of informing yourself about how the actual like connection string is put together. And then I'll head over to LinkPad, which I'm not even sure you even use, but I like LinkPad. And I will try and connect it using what I've learned in LinkPad. Once I'm there, I'm now confident I can go over to the actual C# um, NT framework tools, the Visual Studio extension I still use, and I will try and make it connect that way. So I'm still on step one, which is get the IDE going and connect to the database.
Yeah. So, like, what's supposed to happen is it sounds like you're also trying to get the front end to talk directly to the database, which is also a no no.
No, so we do pull things into a state object. So we have
Mm-hmm.
so basically it's like this. We have two or three, or maybe even more, on-prem systems that are controlling robots
Okay.
in the plant floor. And we're basically the glue that goes between them. And so the glue that goes between it involves a little bit of human interaction in terms of, we call it scheduling. And so we'll go in there and say, well, if you want 20 of these, you need 10 of those. And let me go check there's 10 of those available. Sort of thing. From like, if you want like something from automation service A, you need something from automation service B to look like this, and so on. And that's what we do from a like zoomed out perspective.
And that's cool. But it sounded like you were setting up the database in the front end, the
No,
database
so there's
connection.
there's a .NET API that's where the database connection will
Oh,
go.
great. Cool.
The reason why maybe you were thinking that is because all of that code I was talking about earlier, where it
Mm-hmm.
like goes to this back end that I
Mm-hmm.
can't access, that was a desktop application that got migrated to an API.
Makes
That was
sense.
a WinForms application at one point.
Yeah. And now it's a console app, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's definitely the approach that we have. For us, it makes sense to do because the client that I'm working for has a whole bunch of different products, and those products do communicate with each other. So our app should be able to launch tools from another app. And so there's this background service for each of the apps, and we just call into the API or to the Signal R. We make a request through Signal R, it performs the actions, and then sends out a message via Signal R to all listening clients. This is now done. And here's the data.
Yeah, we are. I did preach a little bit, and I think it's in good standing. We still want to use like a typical like JSON API endpoint scenario for most of the data. So what we do with SignalR is once like someone will make a change, like a user will make a change to a record, that then gets sent to the over the into the backend. The backend does a bunch of magical calculations, and then it declares a whole series of things that are included as part of views on the UI as stale records. And we send out over SignalR basically the for each record that's stale, we go ahead and send that out, and then the client then makes a JSON call to the API endpoint to get the unstale version, and then updates its visual.
Yeah, that's an interesting application architecture.
And part of that is part of the reason we did that was because we wasn't sure whether we made that decision when we were using Blazor, whether or not we'd be able to use Blazor, what technology we'd be able to use. And I was like, well, what if we end up using it? Like, what if they tell us I have to use some version of React that doesn't have SignalR? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was like,
Well,
well, I need.
go ahead. Go
But I know most things do. But I was concerned, like, what if I'm not confident enough that I understand things in and out to say SignalR is the be all end all. Let's do everything over SignalR. I was a little bit more conservative, and I said, let's make universal JSON endpoints that any application can hit, that we can put into like an Android phone app or whatever, and then we'll use SignalR for like the real-time messaging. And that's also good because we also developed a polling solution as well. So part of the application has to be forward, which means that if the internet goes out, it still has to be operational.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So so the way we did Signal was pretty cool because in the scenario where it's offline, I simply just dump out those same messages to a list, and then I have the client poll it every second and say, is there anything on your list from this day? I do the date time. I say anything newer than this date time, come to me.
And are
that's
you
how
storing that list in
Signal
memory?
Yeah.
So then what do you do if the app crashes while that list is in memory?
So that's okay. So the actual during the startup of the application, basically the startup involves pulling a ton of data from various different sources into memory and then performing a bunch of calculations on it. So like if a stale client goes to, and this is actually a feature we do have to work out a little bit better, but when it comes online, it sends a message out that says, hey, if you're currently viewing my shit, everything is stale, and it refreshes everything. So on the startup, there's a
flag.
This is a new day message.
Right.
Which would trigger in the event that the internet goes out and then suddenly comes back on an hour later. It would trigger another one of those messages.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, we're currently dealing with situations that are similar to that, where we need to decide what happens. So our application, as you know, is a desktop app, but it's using Blazor for the UI, which is so much fun, by the way.
I'm
So
jealous.
what happens when they run a test? If that test crashes their system, the only time that the test currently, and a test meaning computer test, checks some hardware on your computer to make sure it's functioning correctly. The only time that that test execution gets logged is on completion. There is no, this test started and then the app crashed and now this test never finished. So the only thing that we get is a record that says this test finished, here are the results of the test. And the client is saying, we want some more robust telemetry data. Did the user start a test? Did the app crash during that test? And what was the recovery like? Did the user have an opportunity to provide feedback, etc.? So
Okay.
it seems very similar to the stuff that you're doing, except you're doing it from the web perspective of cache the information that they're currently working on. If they lose internet connection, then just keep polling until they get, or lose connection to the WebSocket or whatever. Then keep polling until the connection is restored, and then do the update or sync.
Yeah, it's just Angular. So there is no socket connection, and I'm not familiar enough with Angular to say whether or not they can do a socket connection.
I mean,
But
like the main app that we're trying to run extra tools from is an Angular app, but it's just the
okay.
backend itself is Yeah. Anyway, that's a
The back
different.
end itself is what though? Because that can be
It's just a .NET console app.
okay.
Yeah,
Well, just
that
make sure
uses
because I know
Signal.
you could do whole back ends within the JS world. As you know, I've seen that. It looks very ugly. You know what I played with last night? I played with Flask. You heard of
Ask.
Flask? Flask is a Python web GUI making tool. It also has some. I'm not really get that deep into it, but some sorts of back end stuff as well.
Mm.
So I made like a dummy page with Flask. As someone who I don't know, I wish I was named, but another streamer was streaming, and he is a very sort of learning. I just want to learn. I want to be here to have fun and learn type of person. So I think which is the type of spin the flask, yeah, something like that. I don't know if that's a reference.
Anyway, you can use
Um,
other streamers' names if you're comfortable. But yeah, go ahead.
I'm comfortable with it. I just didn't want to say on your stream
No,
without your permission. So
absolutely.
now I have it. So it's Coding with Strangers is the guy's name, and Coding with Strangers streams kind of late, but he works in like a science lab, something with medical sciencey lab, and so he wants like sort of break into programming and 3D art and things. So he does some Python because he has some stuff at work that he uses Python with. So that's how I guess how he started his coding journey. And so now he's trying to learn all sorts of different things he can do with Python. And he has a particular project that he's working on right now, which is rather outlandish. I don't think it's realistic, but nevertheless, he wants to see if he can use an iPhone as a remote doorbell. Is his goal. So the solution we came up with, we went through like the whole like maybe we should make an iOS app, and he's like, well, we can't side load it and this that and the other. I'm like, well, I don't. Was going through and it's like one guy just said, why don't you just like make a web page that you can go to that requests like from Safari access to the camera, access to the microphone,
Right.
which is like almost like a Ring doorbell thing.
Right.
Um,
I'm like, this thing
and
already exists, except it's not a phone that's sitting up on the side of your door. It's just an
yes, yeah, no,
IoT
that
device that
again,
sends a
his whole
message to a
thing,
server.
right? His whole thing is just to like learn and have fun. He's like, I know you
Yeah,
can
that
go
makes
buy this for
sense.
$15. Yeah, yeah. But no,
Absolutely.
so that this is on someone pipe up. So why don't you create a web page that you can just Safari will access the Safari on your phone, or access the camera. And I was like, well, you can do that. You probably make a PWA like full screen it, so you can't even like people won't even know what it is. And he's like, yeah, that looks good. So that's what he's starting with. He did try and do Django, which is
Django,
another
just Django.
Python one, just Django. And uh,
I have only heard
that
of
one
these, by the
was
way. I don't really know anything about them. I've just
no,
heard of them.
neither did I till yesterday. When I was googling up and I tried Flask because he was trying it. And Django is very complex. It's a very older style of technology, and so a lot more complexity is in it. So he was trying that for like 2 days and gave up. And was like, no, let's just use something simpler.
Why is this thing not copying to my clipboard? Oh, anyway.
But so far along the Oracle project, I can't download the Oracle IDE. It's like behind like a login thing. Like you gotta like sign up. So I put my
There's an
email in.
Oracle IDE?
Like an Oracle database tool. It's an Oracle. It's for their database stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you can use just about anything. Like a couple of them that might work for you are dbeaver is a really good one for like you're talking about something that's like SQL Server Management Studio, right? For connecting
Yes,
to
yeah.
your
I just
Oracle
want to be able to
database.
like
Yeah.
confirm that my login is appropriate, that everything is connected. I can like
Yeah.
go to the database and view
You
data.
could try dbeaver. It's a good tool for that. It
Yep.
uses so many different database connector types, including Oracle. And then Toad was the one that I used a million years ago. Um, so I don't know if it's still around, but I enjoyed it. I've heard some pretty negative things about Toad, but oh, and it looks like it has a licensing model, so never mind. You might not be able to use Toad.
There might be a
But
free version.
I used that when I was working with Oracle with Department of Defense a million years ago.
All right, I'm gonna get this DB I'm installing it now. Let's see if I can connect to
DB
this
vermin.
database.
It sounded like you said DB vermin.
DBeaver, yeah, DBeaver Community Edition.
Yeah, I like this one. I use this one for the database that's for our private Lineage 2 server. I didn't know about it until installing that. It was fun. It was cool. Yeah. The Beaver. But going back to your app that you're currently working on, what do you guys do telemetry wise, if you know? I don't mean to put you on the spot.
You mean, yeah, we use application insights. I am a big proponent of encouraging
So
application
cheater.
insights.
You're such a cheater. I don't
That
know
thing,
data grip. That's why I hunt so high.
yeah, that thing. I pointed it to the freaking app. I put some code in there. Even there's an application insights for Angular, like the client side Angular and Blazor, that like tells you like clicks and like page load times and shit like that. Uh, um, and it just creates a bunch of really yummy views and job done. Like I can go look at the performance of every single endpoint. I can look at every single DB query and like it'll tell me like if there's any failures and everything kind of stuff. And there's a bunch of I haven't set it up, but there's a bunch of like notification mechanisms, right? So you can like do alerts
Right.
and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, we have to do our own. So the way that we do our telemetry data is we write to the event log, and there is another service that is constantly running on the PC that on occasion goes through the event log and says, give me all events with this particular ID as of this day, and then send that up to the servers when a connection is available. So it's kind of annoying because the type of data that we send them is freeform data for the most part. But yeah, Hansohai is saying that this was another uh, database viewing engine, except that they get it for free using their university account. But my university account, I don't have access to the email anymore, the email address anymore. So I wouldn't be able to use my university email. And DFlux went to university in the UK.
What? Who told you that?
He went to Oxford
Yeah,
last
that's
I heard.
right. Actually, Cambridge.
Cambridge.
Yeah. When straight at Cambridge, I said, "Give me a degree," and they said, "You're so smart. You don't even have to come through the door with your degree. You don't
Tyron
even
is
have to go
saying that
through the
yesterday
admissions
was
process.
stressful.
There'll be, in fact, no record of you ever being here."
But you'll have the degree.
Yeah,
What
so
was
the
yesterday
honor. It's
stressful,
not.
Tyron? Go ahead.
Yesterday was stressful. I mean, I agree with you, Tyron. Yesterday was stressful. I actually ran into an issue with Azure's network network architecture thing. Another round of layoffs at Microsoft. I mean, that's not who
Yeah,
gives a
I was
shit.
really, really sad to hear about the MR
I
dev
was
team
I
and
was
everything.
somewhat I was somewhat sad about that.
Expectant.
Somewhat.
Oh, I was gonna
Mm,
say because
not so much
there has
expected.
been very, very little interest in it, even
Yes.
in industrial sectors where you would expect it to be pretty prevalent or
Yeah, yeah.
exciting.
Well, so that's why it's a good sign when they're doing layoffs in that area or they're doing like cutbacks in that area. So it basically means is that when okay, so basically, here's how I think is what's happening. Okay, if someone has a good idea, they go to the department and they say, "This is my idea. Here's what I want to do. Here's what we want to be able to achieve with whatever technology." And the department goes, "We haven't got the budget for that because I have all my people doing this other thing that we think is really important right now." And eventually, push comes to shove, and someone in the exec or the high level up goes, "Actually, no, I don't give a shit what you are doing. This is actually important." And so
Right.
basically, when they start
Exactly.
shuffling the
I mean,
paper
that's
around, it
happening on
means
my small team right now.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And so that's basically what they're saying is that that thing that didn't get a lot of traction, that isn't really making the needle move. They're going to now start making very radical moves to start making that needle move, start building out the tools they need to build out to
Right.
make that a more prevalent piece of technology. Even if that means hurting people along the way, that's just sort of the nature of capitalism or whatever.
Right.
So that's going to happen. But I think Overall, it's a good sign. Yeah, the another round. I wouldn't let the layoffs bother you at all, Tyron. As a .NET developer, I don't think anybody in those. I think 56,000 jobs. I think I saw a count so far this year in the past. Past what is that, 40 some days into the year we are, or something like
I don't
that.
know.
So that's like more than 1,000 a
I can't
day
do
in layoffs on
numbers.
average. What's that?
I said I can't do numbers. I don't know maths.
Oh, yeah. So more than 1,000 a day. I think that's about right. And none of those people do .NET. None of those people do. None of the boring stuff is getting laid off. Okay, we do fairly boring stuff, which is good. You know,
I don't know.
when
Taryn works on Xbox
he
Live.
works on Xbox, oh, you're fucked.
Yeah.
I'm joking. I'm joking. I have no idea. Um, but no,
Or at least last I heard.
if you're doing, sorry, I keep talking over you. I
No, no,
apologize.
no, you're good. I was just saying, or at least last I heard. That's all.
Yeah, no, it's a good. The thing you got to remember, or the thing that makes me comfortable at night, is that a company, like an actual like company, is just a mechanism for like managing skills, managing inputs and outputs, and that kind of crap, right?
Right. I
But
can
the
agree with
actual
that.
underlying skills of the individuals that work at that company only work there on the point of convenience. That is that, like, if
Oh,
Microsoft tomorrow we just like filed for bankruptcy and just disappeared, everybody that works there is still massively skilled and massively privileged in the area of their art or their technique or whatever it is, and they could tomorrow get another job working at some startup or whatever, doing something just as important and just as prevalent and just as well
or
compensated.
I mean, like one of the things that I'm running into is something that's not as interesting as the thing that I'm currently working on. Because man, the technologies that I get to currently work with, as you know, I keep saying as you know because we've talked a lot. Um, in the previous job, I was working at my own pace, using whatever technology I felt like working on, had a whole bunch of independence. I didn't want to give that up, but I did. And now I'm working here. And I'm working on even more interesting technology on a team where I am pretty restricted in what I can use and can do. And it's always a discussion of, well, it's always been like this, and in the future they're going to be expecting more of us if you do that. And like, but this is the right way to do it. And they're asking for this, they're the client. But we don't want to give in to their stuff because they'll just ask for even more. And I'm like,
Oh, that yeah, no, yeah. I had a similar
so
conversation last week.
yeah, so that situation is just, I don't know, that's getting to me quite a bit more than I expected it to. Like yesterday, it was just a flurry of obligatories coming from me because of all of the discussions,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh my goodness. To myself, of course, not to
I
them.
hope you're not joining the rabble of yelling competition that you
Oh
go in for
no, no.
all week.
It's never to them, never during group discussions. During group discussions, I try to stay cordial and respectful and hear people out,
I
even
will
if they are.
say I have received some rather rude emails from people in the company that want to achieve certain things, and I've sent some rather rude emails. Every time I get these people in a team school, they're the nicest of sweethearts. They're just kind and happy to be alive. And then you go back to their email and they're like this Rottweiler the whole time. But if I get them like on the phone, or like I get them like in person or via Teams, they're like, just calm as could be.
Sorry. I heard
And but
most of what you were saying.
Did I cut
Um,
out?
no, your mic is
That's
doing
fine.
amazing. It sounds really good.
Oh,
I was
nice.
getting a Zoom call. Like my Zoom shows me as unavailable. Anyway, that's one of the things that really irks me. It's like you told me to put all my stuff on my calendar so that you can see when I'm available and not available, and you're gonna try to call me when I'm not
I'm
available.
gonna do that. I had to schedule a meeting with like these exact people last week. This was for Tuesday this week, and I went there. I hid you on a story. I invited two people to a meeting. I wanted to have a little two people with some people on the security team, and which want to make sure what their policies were for production things. And out of the 2 people, 12 people showed up, and only one of the 2 people I invited actually, one of the people I set the meeting with actually showed. Like so, and then 12 other people showed up because the meeting got like passed around, like I don't know, which is fun. Um, but no, we did a whole other story with that. But I want to address Taran's point. He said, "Well, what helps me him sleep is he saved up money so he could survive for a while." And I think what I was talking about with having like intrinsically valuable skills is that's a side effect of that. So we were saying the same thing in effect. Having valuable skills that society values means you can save up money. So when I say like that's what helps me sleep at night, is we're saying the same thing.
Yeah. And I thought I just love hearing that. So I typed it in chat. But when someone mentions that they are confident in the skills that they have, it's pretty awesome to me. It's really good to hear. I like hearing that.
And you're I mean you're a smart guy. Okay, I'm not. There's a difference. I definitely feel like I'm shilling off of like exclusivity. Like the reason why I get a decent wage is not because I am a smart person that's got educated and so on. It is because there isn't enough developers to go around. And about 50 years from now, I think it's gonna like it's like trucking. When trucking was first started, like there were not enough truck drivers or enough trucks to deliver all the products that needed across the United States of America in the 50s and 60s. And the highways, they still were building them out and so on. And now it's the case, 50 years later, whilst you still can make some money, it is a cutthroat industry. It's a very competitive industry. You really can't make a good living doing it anymore. You have to like, if you come in with like $500,000 and buy like 2 trucks, you can make it. But if you don't start with $500,000, you won't make it, sort of thing. And I think that's going to be the way we're going, especially with tools like ChatGPT and other tools,
Yep.
where the bar for entry is going to become higher and higher and higher. I'm lucky, we're lucky, you're lucky because we got in, right?
Yep.
But
Yep.
new people coming into the industry out of university is going to be a lot more tougher,
Right.
and that's going to continue in a sliding way to the point where, um, which where like if you do like if you go to school right now and you get to spend 6 months learning how to weld, right, you can get a
Oh
job
no,
working
I'm sorry.
18, $20 very easily.
No.
Right.
It's not to discourage you, Hanso. He's just remember these are our musings, these are our opinions. So this
Yeah,
is
this is
our
this is my subjective
forecast.
view of reality. There is no protection. No protection exists. Well, there's some protection in the form of like you can go get like a union job, but or a government job, but for the most part, most of the world, good, I would say 60% of the world works in like a sort of a free, open, let's just make things happen type environments.
Mhm.
And those are, if you're paid well, it's because you're exclusive and you're highly skilled. But I think for me personally, I'm speaking for myself here. I listen to Humberto here, and he is a smart gentleman of high regard, and he'll like sit down, he'll like delve into an issue that I couldn't even know how to even begin to comprehend how to go about doing things, and it's because the tools that I have now, tools like .NET, tools like Visual Studio, tools like ChatGPT, and other things, that I can compete with Humberto, but with one line. We'll call you the lion.
Oh, call me
Uh,
whatever.
yeah.
Just don't call me. Actually, you can call me anything, even late for lunch.
Well, but no, uh, I think the future is bright for technology in terms of, and that's the other thing that we have to stop doing, right? We've got to stop calling it technology for starters,
What do we call it then?
because that's what's that?
What do we call it then?
Well, like like you say, you're a software developer. You don't say you're a
Yes.
technology person. Technology in Latin literally just like boils down to new shit or new stuff.
Hmm.
I shouldn't say
Right.
new stuff.
You say again. Talk however you talk, except
Well, you're family
the certain
friendly.
topics.
I go to work every day and I try and keep it family friendly. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
that's
Just in
cool.
case, just because I work with a bunch of fucking children. So can you keep it family friendly? Um, I forget what point I was making, but the future is bright. Yes, but you got to stop calling it technology because it's not new. That's part of the problem I come across is people just say, "Well, that stuff's new." It's like if
Right.
someone came to me and they said, you know, it's Azure Active Directory. Should I use Azure Active Directory or is it too new? And I was like, Azure Active Directory predates the cloud.
Yeah, it does.
The
Or
online
wait,
version of Active
Azure Active
Directory.
Directory or just Microsoft Active Directory?
No, Azure Active Directory predates Azure.
Wow.
Azure Active Directory, a cloud version of Active Directory, came out before Azure was released. I think 2007, 2008. Azure Active Directory was an online service Microsoft provided. And I think Azure as a cloud platform started like 2015 or 2012 or something like that. Those 3 years. So this is not new stuff. Well, one guy said to me, he mentioned, I forget how he brought up the question, but something to the effect of, "Isn't Blazor too young?" And I said, I've enjoyed the last half decade of using Blazor because it's been out for like over half a decade now. It is not new uh, by any stretch. In
Right.
fact, it's
But
aged.
is technology, like, I know you were going back to the original Latin term of the word, but technology is just currently anything that is a new, or I was using the word new there, is an applied science way of interacting with things. So applying our current scientific knowledge in order to achieve a thing that we would be doing in some non-technological way, like manual labor.
Yeah, well, so as long as people keep using the word technology, what they're implying is there's a scarcity of labor. That's the implication. That it's
Oh,
new stuff. New stuff means we haven't got enough people. And that means if there's a scarcity of labor, that means we have inflated wages. Means that we're actually not being paid because of our skill set. We're paid. There's this famous scene. Oh, I won't go into it, but anyway, there's like three. There's an investor guy, right? He said there's three ways you can get ahead. You can either cheat, you can either be the smartest, or you can be first.
that's
And he
not
goes on to say
either.
he doesn't cheat. And he said, and so we're first. When people say you do technology, what they're trying to say is you're first, which is implicitly saying you're not that smart. But if they, for the most part, this is the case. We are in a situation where we don't technologists. You're a .NET developer, which means something very specific, something very intentional. I got a promotion, by the way. Hey, I didn't share with you. Maybe I did share with you. I don't remember. I haven't been on your stream a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
Bad
but that's
behavior, bad DFlux. And I got a promotion. I'm now a senior .NET developer. Somehow,
ooh,
I don't know how.
fancy. It's better
I
than
think
my
there should
title.
be
My title is just generic senior consultant,
senior
which could mean
consultant. Well,
anything.
still, I think there should be some bylaw that says you can't be in your 20s and have the word senior in your title. That should be, this is a contradiction in terms, surely. I am just
Well,
five
it's
or
a good
six
thing
months
you're not in
away.
your 20s.
No, I am 5 or 6 months away of falling out of my 20s into my 30s,
Mm,
but I still in my 20s.
I still don't consider it your 20s.
Well, I'm 29,
You're
right? So
old. You're
yeah,
old.
2029 is not that old.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, no, it's not. It's I
I'm
mean,
kidding.
hey,
I'm kidding. Oh my
you're.
goodness.
I was gonna say, like if you get to call me old, I get to call you Gramps from now on.
Yes, please do.
Grandpa
Actually,
Line,
call
tell
me
us tell us the stories
Lennox.
of days gone by.
It's a bigger part of the family. Um, you were on a topic, and I wanted to continue on that because yeah, I'm still not fully convinced that technology is constrained to being a term that is used for new things. But there is at some point the dropping of the word technology. Like, we don't consider car wheels technology, but the wheel
Right.
was technology when it was first created.
Yeah, this is what I mean. It's like it wasn't until like literally 4 or 5 months ago that AI. Whenever you called something AI, it means it was broken. That's what that meant. When everyone used the term AI, because if it did work, we didn't call it AI. We called
What
it
do we
something
call it?
else. Well, I mean, there's a whole slew of sub like we call like machine learning. Machine learning was AI that was, we didn't call it AI, we call it machine learning because it worked. And that's how you distinguished it. Uh, um, uh, or if it was, I don't know, what other AI projects there were out there. Um, but
Yes,
like, you know, when,
Digisoft, I do. I do it a lot. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
like, you know, what's that NVIDIA product that you could like put a video and it like creates a
Right, I don't know what
3D
the name of
object?
it is, but I know what you're talking about.
It was like quick nerfs or something like that, or something like that.
Yeah, that
Same
sounds right.
thing. Like, that was called AI, and then it worked, and then they start calling it whatever they called it, nerfs.
Product.
So it's not. So if it wasn't
But
like,
it's
but
still
that
an
really was
application of AI, so
yes, yeah, but we didn't call it AI because it worked. This is the technology scenario. And so once it becomes a skilled art form, once it becomes its own arete, its own subject matter, we stop calling it technology and we start calling it that subject matter.
so like wheel, for example.
Yes, yeah, will, or you know, you would say mechanical engineering, something, right? Something like that. So that's that. At least I mean, this is in my mind, right? So I, you know, that's what I'm thinking. So that's and then I'm saying when I'm saying that with biology we have done that with development. You know, you're not a technologist that just puts like zeros and ones into a machine and stuff starts working. You use a tool set which is identified as a .NET developer, and so
So
that's we
that
don't.
tool set then becomes a scientific tool, right? And if I'm using that scientific tool to create something potentially new, I mean, there's nothing new under the sun, but let's say that it's new from what we can define new as. Am I not creating technology?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, look, hey, yeah, the during the Iraq War, we invented a brand new wheel. We reinvented the wheel because of IEDs would pop tires, so they make a like a wheel out of plastic. I forget exactly. It's like a bunch of like circles inside it. I don't know the technology, but we literally reinvented the wheel as a new technology, but it was still a wheel.
Right.
So
And what was the will before
everything.
that?
Right, yeah, exactly. And so everything is technology. There is nothing that's not technology. Everything produced has some form of artificial intelligence put into it, whether it's like a book. The Holy Bible has artificial intelligence, according to some, in there, you know?
I mean, I don't know, but
I mean, you know, when you think of like artificial intelligence, like, well, has the Bible got anything artificial in it?
possibly.
Maybe, you know,
Yeah. I mean, it's still written
take
by
this bread
man,
as my
even though
skin. That
it's,
sounds kind of artificial, doesn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, right. And but has it got anything intelligent in it? Well, some would say definitely. Some would say probably not. So it's definitely got the components.
Right. But now we're just using a term in its parts instead of in its context.
But so when we define things as a will versus being technology, we're just applying context. That's all we're doing.
Right.
So what's happened recently is people like again, it's not AI GPT, it's Chat GPT, right?
Right.
It's you
The
know
product name.
it's not AI medical, it's Watson or whatever it was, the IBM
Yeah.
things.
The product name.
Well, no, not only that, we colloquially call it that way. We identify.
Colloquially.
Yeah, I can't say that word.
That's fine.
But we literally, it's one thing. Like, so I was reading a really cool article. Facebook in like the year 2012, 2013 went and purchased a whole bunch of cell phone towers and satellites in, I think it was the DPRC, the Dominican Republic of Congo,
This sounds familiar.
and they basically made the connection to Facebook servers free. Now, they didn't uh, through that they purchased the cell towers and everything. They didn't funnel through their Google. They didn't funnel Netflix. They didn't funnel anything. The only thing that was available on their connection was Facebook. So for a lot of people in the DPRC, there was no such thing as the internet. The internet was Facebook, and they would say, "Are you connected to the internet?" They would interpret that as, "Do you have a Facebook account?"
Yeah. Just think AOL. Kind of the same thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Except
yeah.
that
AOL,
you could
exactly.
access other sites through AOL, but in this case,
I,
let's just say
I
you
I
could
grew up
only
in
go to
England. Even in England, we had America Online. It was AOL in England.
AOL.
Like this product is in the wrong country. It was still giving away, Asda, which is owned by Walmart, was still giving away AOL discs free with every purchase.
We had so many of those.
Yeah, yeah.
My-
I remember.
I mean, you don't have to revert it. I was just saying. Huh. I should not be reading
You
my
guys ever go to a website, get annoyed by something, and end up opening dev tools? And
yeah.
yes,
I
oh my
responded to
god,
him.
I never. You know that there's the one website that has like you can compare the actual size of a country versus its real size. Like on the globe, like makes certain countries look bigger. So it's called Real World. Uh,
Never heard of it, but I believe you it exists. We can go to it.
I'll post a link if I can find it.
Like Real World from MTV.
True Size of. It's called truesizeof.com. There it is. And so
The
when you
true
go to the
size.
truesizeof.com, I have not the first clue how to get rid of that damn how it works. Introduction panel thing. So
You click on the
so
X.
I just F12 that and delete it. I don't know how to get out of that. Yeah, I don't have that. So that's what it is. Okay, here's what's going on. I have a dark theme on and the X is black.
Oh,
I've never seen it in my life. I've
dark
never,
reader.
just now I've learned there's an X button there. Yeah, that thing. So I just sat
There
there
we
like, I don't know
go.
how to get rid of this thing. And so I have to F12 it and delete it.
That's hilarious. That's awesome though, but hilarious. So
Yeah, that's how I
DFlux
did it.
goes boop, boop, and don't forget to say, wow, there is a tree for this thing, isn't there? Bye. There's still more?
There's like an overlay that goes across the whole page. You have to
An
delete the whole thing.
overlay. Jeez. Wait, that's the map. That's the map canvas. It's got to be this thing. Nope, that was the map. Anyway, definitely be able to find
There you go. We solved it. I never knew there was an X button there.
it. Oh, I got rid of it though at some point. It looks like the tree of a WordPress site. Yeah, it actually kind of still looks like any other componentized thing. Well, the map, it's not really their fault. It's just how the map hydrates, how Google Map hydrates, turns into a canvas and has all of that nested stuff. And then they had that as part of the map, apparently. I think. Numbers is here. What the? What? Hoi, Captain. I keep
Hey,
tuning
Katie,
into your
comment. How you doing?
streams, but I'm not really active in them because I'm away from keyboard.
The other one I do use, you don't use it, I know, because you have Chrome up there. But the read feature on Edge, I love that feature.
Oh, I use all of the browsers.
Do you ever go like New York Times and like want to read an article and they
I
go, "There's a
don't read
paywall
the
here."
news.
Oh, that's shit. Well, I mean, there's still there's paywalls, right? You go up to like uh sites that have paywalls, and you just smack read and it just converts it all to text.
That's smart. I see what you're saying.
They
Yeah, so
started to get really smart though. Let's see if it still works.
yeah,
I
like
know there's
Quora,
one that
you won't be able to do it on the premium Quora articles. Those don't work because they don't even print out all of the text on the page. They just add that fade. So Captain Commerce says he's here and not to just lurk. Well, that makes me feel like a
just
jerk
joined.
because I'm
Yeah.
almost always lurking on your stream to lurk. I'm almost always on everyone's stream just lurking because I'm either busy working on my job during the workday or in the evenings trying to improve my skills. Skill up. Skill up. Or just stuck on Stable Diffusion creating random images because it's so addictive. Hello, Abacus. But yeah, for those of you that are just joining, a reminder that today is Community Day on the stream. You can see DFlux is in the voice channel, hanging out. And we were having a pretty good conversation earlier. Um, I'm still curious about one other thing in your app, because these are things that I'm currently focused on and trying to improve in our app. So, reminder, we have a desktop application that's a WPF app that uses a Blazor WebView component with Blazor components inside of it. Blazor WebView control. Cool? Cool. We need to support two major accessibility functionalities. Number one is high contrast, and number two is narrator. What do you guys do in your web application front end for those concerns?
We tell our HR department not to hire anybody that would have those problems.
So your apps are used internally only?
Yeah, they're internal.
Is
We
number
don't
one?
do any accessibility at all.
Well, I mean, you should still be doing accessibility, but they're internal apps, so you don't have to worry too much about it. So at the moment, you don't even have like a coding guideline that says put ARIA tags on everything?
No, I don't know what that is. What's that area tag?
It is a way to tell accessibility tools about the structure and the content of a web HTML app. HTML UI? I can just call it UI
So they're
because it
called
doesn't even have
Google it. Area tags.
ARI.
ARI tags. Air tags. Apple selling to me.
Accessibility. ARIA, which stands for Accessible Rich Internet Applications. And the thing that I'm hooked. The thing I'm hung up on is our application is a desktop app, which there are different ways for you to do screen reader type stuff in a desktop native application. Then there are web structure type things, ARIA specifically, that say this is how you tag your elements. The problem for me is I am having trouble because let's say we're on a page that has cards. Ooh, I know a page that has cards. Code pen. Yeah. So let's say that we're on this page, and this is a page in the application. When narrator comes to this page to read, it finds a header and it starts reading the header. And then if the user doesn't interact, it doesn't go anywhere. That's what it does. I was about to say it goes to the next header, but it just doesn't go anywhere. So then they push tab and it goes to the next header. Is that the correct functionality, or should it read the entire card when it visits this thing? I don't know. And I haven't been able to look up stuff about it yet.
My my wife's grandmother turned on the accessibility mode on her phone a couple of days ago. And she doesn't live with us, so her daughter, who is she's aunt, went over there, said we need to warranty this phone. And I got her the phone because as a gift, and I said why? She keeps saying things. I was like, I think you mean you've turned accessibility mode on. And she's like, I don't know what that is. You know, so the part of the problem, so the first one
is
you
it
suggested,
a sexy
where
voice
it
or an annoying voice?
I don't. Well, the part of the problem is it just wouldn't shut up, so you just turned it off. So I think the first one you suggested, where it doesn't just continuously talk until everyone just gives up and turns off the laptop, I think that's the appropriate approach.
Yeah, and like I did what I thought was the right approach, and we currently have a whole bunch of work tickets, is what I'll call them. I really don't know what to call these things other than the brand that of metrics that they use. But anyway, work tickets regarding narrator is broken, and very few details on how it's broken or what was expected to happen with narrator. And when I talk with the client, it's like, okay, you're telling me that narrator isn't working as expected. What is the expected way? Because I went through every single screen and verified that narrator can read the screen in the proper order. They can tab to all of the elements and interact with them with just the keyboard, for example.
Now here's a good question for the customer, and I don't even know if what you're telling me is you're doing this in the code there. What is doing the narrating? Is the OS is the one that's doing the narrating?
Yes. So let's say it's narrator, which is Windows accessibility. Accessibility. What is it called?
So the narrator is
Accessibility
actually
settings.
reading these are the actual narrator. I was just curious. So you're telling me that inside your Blazor/Angular desktop, which is running a Maui, right, app,
It's just a
it's
WPF. It should be a Maui app.
okay, well, in your WPF app, that's fine. But in your WPF app, the actual narrator knows to actually read the internal program as a HTML page and see the ARIA ARIA tags. It's actually doing all that.
That's the thing that I don't get. So as you're saying it, those are exactly the same things that I had to consider, because it's a desktop app, so it knows the title bar, the minimize, close, restore, all of those buttons for the non-client area. It knows the client area and all of the native controls, like if we put actual text in there, like this thing would be, if this isn't a Blazor app. Um, then it would know each of these things because of its layout, because it's inside of the application. But the only thing we have is a Blazor web view. And so I don't exactly know how the narrator engine or whatever it is takes over and says, I'm now reading a web content. And so this is how I should behave. Read ARIA tags to find out the rules, find out what it's in reference to. Am I supposed to read this out loud? It's hidden from me. All of that stuff. So I don't know.
Okay, well, that'll be something definitely because I'll be personally, and I'd love to see that work, but that sounds to me like it would not
Well,
work.
let's look at it. We can look at it right now. Right now.
I'm gonna just grab me a drink as you load that up. Hold on one sec.
So while he's getting a drink, what I'm getting prepared is the Maui version of the financial management applications plural. I don't have any ARIA tags in here, like a bad person. Cheers. Dink. Um, but I did create a Maui application that uses the same UI. So if we have something, yeah, and my app is going to be even worse because I don't think I use semantic HTML tags very much. That's even worse. I'm such a bad person. Okay, I'm using main and section at least, but I'm not using, it doesn't look like I'm using any H1 through H3 tags, or H4, I guess. How am I going to do this? So there are a lot of things that you can get from an ARIA tag to inform the accessibility tool of what each thing is supposed to be used for. So for example, if I have a button in my data entry form, and this button is the submit button, then this really should have an ARIA should have a it should have an ARIA tag on it of some sort as to whether or not it's enabled. The value text, gosh, definitely needs a title. But what I was trying to get at, okay, let's do an input instead.
I mean, I wonder if that's an easy test, right? Just rather than calling it title of submit, call it like something obnoxious so you could tell when it reads it if it reads it as the actual.
Oh yeah, true. Um, ARIA describe labels, ARIA label, and then this thing should have an ID. Um, I can't think right now. So that's going to be some ID. And then, of course, this has the 4. And this thing would have ARIA labeled by. And this thing needs to have an ID. Pasta. Okay. So when I run this application like this, it's going to run as a desktop app. With web content as its UI. One way or another. Everything is a div. I'm really, really bad at that. I mean, so the work product that I have at least uses semantic HTML. So that helps out a little bit. Okay, here's the application. I'm going to start narrator, so I probably won't be able to hear you very clearly. And I wonder what output channel my narrator is on. Ow. Okay, you guys can't hear that, right? This is so loud. Okay, so I have the application selected, and as you can see, the only thing that the narrator knows about is this main non-client area. It did not go inside of the application. So as I'm tabbing through things, it's not talking to me. It's not saying anything to me because nothing is tagged correctly. But as soon as I come in here and I tab to, oh geez.
Got ourselves an error.
Which one? I did change it in payment entry, right? And this is the transaction date. No, I don't need the new voices narrator. Why are my dev tools not actually showing up? Okay, so this was just an error to do with the application not having a connection to the database. And it can read that just fine. But I just hit tab, and now it's reading the information from this thing. And now it's reading through the actual page itself. So month, sum ID, spin button, 0, minimum 1, and maximum 12. That has nothing to do with the field that I am, or sorry, that is the month field. Wow.
Yeah.
But it's not describing it in a way that is helpful. I'm going to have this thing output just for a couple seconds. You guys are going to hate this. I don't think a narrator is intended to be used with a mouse. And you'll quickly hear why. Yes. When I was doing this the first time,
Digital
I got
out line
such a panic
search
attack.
box desktop child side bridge pane finandman.maui OBS 29.0.0
Okay.
64-bit
So now you
Windows
guys can hear it.
profile
I'm going to turn it down a
my
lot.
usual profile scenes.
I don't think
usual
DFlux can
window,
hear it though,
group, scan all
unless you're
audio
listening on the stream.
sources scene stream voice OBS group volume slider stream
Okay.
room desktop child side bridge pane
There. Desktop child site bridge pane thing.
web table enter sort ascending backslash sort ascending sort descending clear sort filter contains
Okay,
6
DFlux,
items.
thank you so very much for hanging out with us though.
Sort ascending clear sort filter
Any way to get Brian? I think I'm currently using David, which is kind of funny because he just left.
Backslash group sort ascending
But
sort descending
the
clear
thing
sort
that I
filter
had to
clear
do
filter
is
contains
tell
6
the
items.
app excuse me, tell the app when it detects the narrator is attached, which doesn't happen as soon as you launch narrator, by the way. The application itself pulls, I don't even know how often, so it doesn't happen immediately. But as soon as you have narrator turned on, my assumption is if a user is going to have narrator or need narrator, they're going to have it turned on before they even launch the app anyway. So at startup, it knows when narrator is attached. So at least that part's done. All of the elements on the form that I need to be tab
/
toable.
group, column header,
I push
column
tab.
header memo, settings, stream, Twitch
Stop.
split,
Stop.
OBS, group.
Stop. Stop. All of the settings that I need to be tab toable, then get a tab index of 1 using Blazor, of course, because it's like, or 0, I mean, which is the do it in order that it appears. The underlying application that's hosting the Blazor UI will have a narrator attached property. And then on narrator attached changed in any of my UI, I update all of my tab indexes, or I essentially just refresh or what? Oh man, this thing has my brain going crazy now. Re-render, which then turns all of the things that should be tab toable on. The problem is the client is telling me there is no back button because the app is crashed. The client is telling me that when we are on a page that has a bunch of cards and the narrator is scanning the page, which is what it does when it goes through each element, puts the box around it, and reads, it's supposed to read all of the contents of the card. And when they gave me the situation that they were encountering, it made sense. But only in those specific circumstances, which I'm about to demonstrate. Am I about to demonstrate it? Are you gonna... Hello? Oh, that worked. Oh, geez, sorry. Mojo. Hello, Mojo. I did not mean to ignore your comment. I did see your comment, and I'm going to read it now. I'm a somewhat new junior dev whose first project is accessibility. Are there any specifications you're supposed to meet? Yeah. I mean, you're asking a question that's exactly on topic, so of course I want to respond to you. Is there an on focus you can give the card? Yeah, so it's exactly that. It's just I don't know how to control what narrator reads. So here, good grief, narrator. This login card, to me, it would make sense that the user is able to tab to the card title and see you're in the login card. So login card is maybe what this thing would read out. Username entry, password entry, and then as the user types, of course, it tells them what they type. Sign in button. And when it does something like that sign in button, then the user knows if I hit enter here, I'm interacting with a button. But what about these down here? The track card, it would read the title of the card, they'd hit tab, read the body of the card, hit tab, and read get started button. And then they hit tab, read watch, hit tab, read watch your money grow, hit shift tab, read watch again, shift tab, get started button. But what is this get started button for? We don't know anymore because I'm not telling it this is the get started button for the track card. So am I supposed to spell that out from narrator, or am I just supposed to expect that the user would know that they are pushing shift tab? because I'm not even close to any kind of expert on accessibility and what the rules are and what I'm supposed to be using the ARIA tags for, other than knowing that I put roles on buttons, progress bars, ARIA value for progress bars, and sliders and stuff. And so I know about some of the things, but I don't know what the practices are for actually indicating what narrator should be reading out loud when focus is on, say, a button. Yeah. Let's hear this beautiful narrator for this thing again.
Scenes, watch part, desktop child side bridge pane, finandman.maui, web content, finandman.maui. Get started, button.
So there, it just says get started.
Get started. Get started.
And
button.
even if on the main index page,
DEX, NEP, EX, R.
for each card,
Finandman, Microsoft Visual Studio window.
get started already. Get started. Get started. Get started.
Card header.
I don't think I can put additional attributes on a card header.
Razor,
I only have additional classes.
Index.razor.
I won't be able to do this. Well, yes, I will. Let's say that I put a H3.
Greater than H.
And then I put
tab
index.
Tab index. Tab index.
Index.
1 of 1.
Tab index.
Space.
Yeah, this is what I was doing when I was. Yeah, this is what I was doing when I was
lion.
first setting this up. Is I had narrator running while I was going through the application. Found out that there was somewhere that I needed to top index. Found out that there was somewhere that I needed to enhance the accessibility feature. And when I did that, I had to come back to Visual Studio, and I didn't want to have to keep turning off and back on narrator between each minor update for this. And yeah, it was just bad. I'm just going to keep wrapping these in random things. Tab index. So that we can now tab to every single, well, I guess the button was always tabbable, but we can tab to you. Oh yeah, we got this button, Alt-Shift-W. Alt-Shift-W. I said Alt-Shift-W, Control-Shift-W? Control-Alt-W? Huh. Control-Shift-W? Control-Alt-Shift-W. Anyway, there's a keystroke where you can surround any content with a div. Oh, it is Alt-Shift-W. And then you can just change the tag to whatever you're looking for. You know what I could do? Instead of trying to add a new attribute. Oh my gosh, it's so unresponsive when you're using that too. Tabaroo. I'm just gonna put a tab index here and a tab index here and on card text. Okay, so now all of my cards should have a tab index. And I have no idea whether hot reload works or not. So let's find out if we have a tab index. We don't. Okay, so I'm going to stop the app and relaunch it. We're going to find out what happens when the surrounding divs are tappable. Oops. Oh yeah, and my favorite thing is if I accidentally leave the narrator on and you guys can hear it and I'm typing into a password field, it's going to go great.
language, stream OBS 29.0.0,
Anxiety, beware.
64-bit, stream room
Let's
1,
find out.
Finnenman.map, hidden,
Oh, I didn't hear anything.
74 volume level,
But you heard me turn up my headphones.
hidden, hidden.
Hidden. That's cool. That's good. Okay.
Track your financial accounts and the related transactions and balances. Get started. Group.
So that's because I put the tab index on the card itself, the surrounding element. So it did read the whole card. Hidden. That's my password.
Track.
We have the same password.
Track your financial accounts and the related transactions and balances. Group.
So, should I only have for cards in specific, I'm talking about cards. Should I only have this outer read
transactions and balances? Get started. Group.
And then the tab would take me to the button.
Finnenman.mauipane. Track your financial accounts and the related transactions.
Yeah, exactly. So what I mentioned earlier, Mojo, was the only time that the elements that I believe need to be read by narrator are tabbable is when the application detects that narrator is attached. So that's really cool that I can do that. And the reason that I can do that, sorry, what I meant to say was the reason that I can do that is because I'm running a desktop application. And so desktop applications have the ability to say narrator or I don't even remember what the setting is, but you can detect if narrator is attached. It's just it doesn't immediately register as being attached as soon as the user turns it on. But anyway, as soon as the application knows that the user has narrator turned on, then it turns the index.
Stream room 1 lion OBS 2 OBS.
Stream room 1 lion. You're gonna mute again. Okay. Actually, let's just turn off narrator now. We're good. Thanks. Come on. It's still reading the volume. Hello, it's frozen. Oh my goodness. You are not allowed to turn narrator off. What is it? Windows Shift S? Windows. This is too much. This is too much. Make it stop. Somebody help me. Now you're stuck with it. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it there. It wants to stay running, so it's gonna stay running. When the application detects that narrator is running, that's what I was gonna show. I have a UI state that controls all of the UI properties that I would be interested in. Do I have the modals in there? The modals might be associated with a different class. This is stuff more like, what is the active theme? What is the active font? So all of these UI properties are in a dependency injected class that is shared throughout the entire application, whether it is the WPF portion of it, the library, although the library doesn't really care about state, so I think it's only from the UI perspective, and the Blazor portion of the UI. So it knows if narrator is detected, then I have a UI state dot narrator attached, then it's tabbable, else not tabbable. And so 0 just means it's tabbable, but in the order that it appears in the DOM. And then -1 means not tabbable. I don't know the narrator specific, or what do you mean by that? So because these are web elements, I call them elements. So it's not an actual WPF app. The only part of our application, my work product, that is WPF is the window and the Blazor web view control inside of it. Everything else is Blazor. Well, and then regular .NET code. Narrator hotkeys work somewhat differently than tab. Huh. Okay. And we have a link that I can click on because narrator is taking over my keyboard. I mean my mouse. What's the Windows shortcut? Windows Control N. That's what I care about. Okay, narrator off. I have control back. Okay, so I will use this. Thank you so much. It's a great starting point. I'm not actively working on the accessibility portion because I thought I was done using what I knew, but I will definitely use this. Control is to stop reading. Oh, wow. Oh, yes. Actually, I did know about this. I did know about this. The narrator modifier key, if you hold caps lock and then you push, yeah, and that's the thing. So Mojo, the only portion of this that we're thinking of as a desktop app is the surrounding shell and the Blazor web view control. And that's it. Everything else consider is a web application. And it seems like Narrator does a pretty good job of switching into web reader mode inside of a desktop application when it sees this is a web content. This is HTML that I'm parsing or reading or scanning or whatever. So essentially my point is I think you don't have to worry about tab index when it's the user's job to use something like oh my goodness. That is a good argument. But I still need to use semantic HTML and ARIA tags to at least identify the structure of the document. So I can improve the UI using that for sure. Accessibility. But that's a great statement, and I didn't think about that. Very much appreciated. Okay, so if a user is going to be using Narrator, they should know, and that's going to, I'm just rehearsing what I'm going to say to the client and the team. If a user is going to be using Narrator, they should know the Narrator hotkeys, otherwise known as modifier keys, or they're still hotkeys. It's just they use the modifier key in combination with. So they should know how to get around their document using modifier keys. Tukasoft. Man, this is really, really helpful. At the bottom, there is something that's labeled scan mode. Oh, this is so helpful. Why? Okay. It didn't actually jump me to it. That's fine. It turns this mode off automatically when you use the tab key to navigate to text boxes or other elements that require keyboard interaction. This is so helpful. Goodness, thank you so very much. This is going to help me make the right decisions on this. As I mentioned, I do have semantic tags for the most part. in the work product that I have. So that's going to help a lot. I need to enrich it more with more ARIA tags. I thought that I had everything tagged correctly, but I can now just focus my, yes, pun intended. I can now focus my attention on the tab index. The only time that I was manipulating tab index directly was if I had some sort of dialogue that would pop up. So for example, right now, if I was in this page, which I can't be because crashing, close out all this, save. Let's run the web app. Another thing that's really helped me inspecting the code on sites like WebAIM. Yeah, so that one's really hard. I can't run the code through a public website for one, but for two, because it's a desktop app and not an app that I can feed the URL to, I can't run it through that. But I do use Wave. Oh, inspecting apps that use accessibility. Okay, yes. And then seeing what they use. That's perfect. Thank you again. Gold. Gold. This is this is like a streamer day. Like it's supposed to be community day where I'm listening to you guys and having discussions with you about the things that you want to talk about, and you're just sitting here helping me out amazingly. So yes, inspecting other sites that have already properly implemented and are focused on accessibility, such as WebAIM, and maybe Wave's website too. So the only times that I manipulate the tab index is, let's say there's a dialog open. Right now, I can still tab to all of the elements in the page behind it. So in that same UI state that I was talking about earlier, I keep track of, is there a content blocking dialog open? And if there is, then all of these get a tab index of -1. The buttons are disabled. All of the fun stuff. And there's probably some easier way to do that too, but it doesn't matter. We will implement that. And we are, now that I have more information about this, as soon as I apply it to my work product, we will apply the same things that I've learned about using the ARIA tags to this application. And we will make sure that it is accessible as well. Man, that's going to make things so much nicer. It's cool. So cool. Good timing too. So I only have like 8 minutes left, but if there is anyone interested in saying any last, like any conversation that can be fit into about 5 minutes, the Discord voice channel is still open for another 5 minutes or so. If you feel like it, hop into the stream. Any of the stream waiting rooms, any of the voice channels essentially, and I'll pull you into the stream room where your voice can be heard on the stream if you want it to be. But just note that it will be recorded and it will be posted. This video will be posted to YouTube about sometime after 24 hours. Like yesterday, I forgot to, or 2 days ago, I forgot to set up the scheduled post. So I did it yesterday. Other than that, man, I got some gold today. That was, oh, it's going to make my job so much easier. Ooh, that's nice. That's real nice. If you didn't see what I did earlier, though, I did go ahead. Oh, I hate it when I say that. I did create a new branch. It's still local only, but I created a branch for fixing one of the bugs that we created. And so if you're interested in what this project is, if you're new here, or if this is the first time that you're seeing this project, I have it on the GitHubs. One Lion Financial Management Project. Thank you so much, Dukasoft. You're amazing. And Dukasoft is just the best ever. The best everything ever. So we created some issues for things that I noticed while going through, but we're doing it in a more formal way because the entire point of this project was to show a full stack .NET web development application, which now is going to be cross-platform now that we have Maui, from start to finish with the design process. So again, YouTube videos are available. Most of them are just me talking with you guys like this. There's not I wish there was more content, or that I at least was able to have the time to go through and tag all of the videos. Like, I found out that all you really need to do is timestamp in the comments section, or in the description. 11D lion? Not 11D lion. I thought I made it 11D lion. Didn't I make it 11D lion? It did make it 11D lion. Oh, I had something else up there. Dugasoft put the link. Thank you so much. I did it for one video, and it really didn't take that long. To do, but you can see that I have the timeline thing. And I really want to go through all of the rest of the videos and just put this little thing in there so that it's broken up, so you know when I'm just talking, when you know when I'm actually presenting content, which parts you can skip, which parts you can just click to the next. It's just that the shortest time span that you can have is 10 seconds. And if I pretty much said I'm talking a lot during this section, it's going to be like talking a lot and then 10 seconds of code, talking a lot, 10 seconds of code. Oh man. Oh man. 91. It's 87 episodes true, but we are on our 91th stream. And the reason, or 92th stream, it's just that there were a few videos that didn't quite make it to YouTube for various reasons. Yeah. But anyway, if you are interested in knowing what the project is, this is a great place to get started. It also gives you information about what the reason that I started this project, and yeah. So I used to stream pretty much every day, every work day, my regular job, but got a new job. Can't stream the work that I do for that job, but I still wanted to continue doing Blazor. Short and sweet of it. But yeah, definitely feel free to watch those videos. I look so much younger in the first one. That was over a year ago, wasn't it? I don't know. I don't know time. Does anyone know time? When was you posted? Oh, it would have been May, most likely. I had to scroll back the time so that I could scroll down to see that I was posted 6 months ago. Right, it wouldn't have been May because May was when I was struggling with the title bar stuff, which we are going to do in this application. One of the main things that I love to do in applications is provide customization for end users. So customize the colors, fonts, all of that fun stuff. And now that we have a Blazor Maui application included in this project, I want to show the progress that I've made with being able to customize the title bar finally for the window based off of the active theme at runtime. That's the hard part, at runtime. Oh, but that was fun. Anyway, so that's going to be it for my day. I will be back again on Monday. Again, look forward to this video being posted sometime after the next 24 hours because, you know, Twitch and affiliate program and 24 hours exclusive stuff. But it'll be on YouTube's, and then the VOD will be immediately available on Twitch afterwards if there is anything that you want to go back and watch or listen to or whatever. Monday we will work on fixing the bug number 14, issue number 14, which is that when you add a new transaction, the transaction history list down here does not refresh. It doesn't add the transaction correctly, which I thought we had working, but we didn't. So that's what we'll work on Monday. But I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. For those of you that use the weekend as non-work days, where'd I go? I am here. I haven't really been watching people on Twitch because none of the people that I usually lurk on have been streaming today. Weird. So yeah, I'm just gonna end the stream and I'll be around on Discord-ish. For the most part, I will be burning through this telemetry stuff first and then working on the accessibility stuff next. Thank you so much again, Mojo, for all of the information that you provided for me. That was fantastic. And thank you, DFlux, who's gone already, but thank you for hanging out with us on the voice channel. Thank you, Dukasoft, for just being amazing. Thank you, Tyron, for being very, very cool and very smart. And knowing that you are and being confident about it because you are and you deserve to be. You're such a cool guy. And you have a really cool personality. All right. All right. Yeah. Always feel free to ask any questions you feel like in Discord. We have a lot of people, a lot of really friendly people that don't mind answering questions. I try to at least respond if I don't see that anyone has responded. Okay. But yeah, that's it for now then. Ciao. Talk to you all on the next time I see you. Latiers. Waving. Between songs. So I'm going to wave until this song gets started so that I can turn it up and then fade it out myself, which doesn't really matter for the VOD because you don't get songs. I'm no Big Amy. Big Amy's amazing. There we go. Okay, ciao for now. Still waving. Microphone.